Okay, today we're going to look at pie charts. This is the third one, representation of data that you will be doing for this lab. Now, I know you have done pie charts, pie graphs, circle graphs, whatever you want to call them. You have done them before. I'm sure you did them in elementary school, and I know that when Mrs. Obley and I have been coordinating what I have been doing in the classroom, collecting data, and what she has been doing in the science room, collecting data, she has worked on having you do circle graphs, pie charts, whatever you want to call them, in her Amplify. But I do want to go over them just in case. Okay, so on the right side of this, I have things that I want to make sure you remember. So I wrote them out ahead of time. Remember, there's 360 degrees in a circle. We can take that circle and we can divide it into wedges, and each of those wedges are measured in degrees. The degree measure can be found by finding the percent of the data and then multiplying that percent by 360. We know that you use a protractor to draw the wedge, and there is a link to a printable and a protractor that you can print and cut out and use to make your pie charts. You're going to be making two of them, one for each of the questions. I took a question you're not going to be using in representing in a chart or graph or table in from the survey. And so that question was, what do you prefer? Online learning or in-class learning? And out of the 83 students that participated in the survey, 67 said they'd rather learn in class, and 16 said they'd rather learn online. And so I'm gonna use this data to show how I would make a pie chart if I was working on this. And we're gonna make sure that we're rounding, so this makes this as easy as possible. I now know that there's 83, so I know that this is going to be 67 out of 83, and that would be for in class, and online would be 16 over 83. And so I would change that to a percent. For those of you who are would like to do the math like me, you would by hand take the numerator and divide it by the denominator. That'd be 83 divided into 67, and online would be 83 divided into 16. If you're doing it on your calculator, you're going to get 0.81 here, or 81%. And for this one, you're going to get 19.19, and of course I'm rounding, or 19%. So what we want to do is now find out how many degrees that is. So one of my wedges, I'm going to take the small one because I only have two. And so once I do the small one, I know the rest of that circle will be the larger wedge. I need to figure out what 19% of 360 is. So I would multiply 0.19 times 360. And I'm going to get, I'm doing that on my calculator, times 360. I'm going to get 68.4, so I'm going to say that it's going to be 68 degrees. 68 degrees is what that is going to be. Now I go to my circle. Okay, I'm going to go to my circle. The first thing I do is I mark one line, okay, because I have to find a starting point. I'm going to start here, and that's where I'm going to make sure I put my protractor. I have it on my center line, and guys, you know, I'm sure you're looking at this and you're saying, yep, there's Mrs. C's hideous drawing, but, you know, we have to get past that. I'm going to put the protractor down on that line, the bottom edge, and I'm going to look and find where 68 degrees is. I'm going to mark that space, and I'm going to say it's probably around here because I don't have a protractor right here, and I'm going to connect those lines. So I'm going to say that is my percent there. That is 68 degrees, or about 19%. And in there I would mark this. This is online. Okay, and this is going to be the rest, and this is in class. And that is how I would make a pie chart or circle graph for that question. I could see there's a lot more people who would rather be learning in class than would be online, but I noticed in the comments there were some people who really liked the idea of self-pacing through the material, felt motivated and relaxed and confident in doing it in that way. Of course, the material we did this year in this grading period was mostly focused on repeating or reviewing, revisiting, spiraling back to things that we had already done in class, which I think made that also a easier format to kind of self-pace yourself through. Okay, so that is it. Make sure you remember you're doing 2 pie charts and you are comparing how the pacing through assignments and scheduling compares to staying focused. So that's question 13, and you need to make 2 pie charts, or circle graphs, whatever you want to call them. And so make sure you have 2 of them. Again, just to remind you, there is a printable protractor link in Classroom. Good job.